Yesterday, the BattleBit Remastered developers took to Twitch to do a development stream, updating the community on the future of the game, its immediate plans, as well as some long-term goals that they have for updates. There's a lot to dive into here, including some stuff that is set to release as soon as tomorrow. So, g'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today, let's have a chat about everything we know regarding the future of BattleBit Remastered. The developers definitely had a lot to go through in this stream, but one of the first things they raised was the crazy success that the game has seen since its launch. I didn't take note of this in particular, but I believe I remember Oki saying that he expected a player count of approximately 15,000 to 20,000 players on the launch of the game, given that the game was going to have a price tag and all that fun stuff. Fast forward to where we are now, and BattleBit Remastered is hitting 60,000 players daily, and the devs have been acquiring additional servers in both the North American and Oceania regions to accommodate the player base. It really is an insane success story for this little indie game, and the devs truly do deserve all of the best for their hard work here. But they are far from done, and one thing I wasn't exactly expecting to see in this dev stream was an announcement for a new map to be coming to the game tomorrow, especially considering we got Tensortown on the launch of the game, which is also a brand new map. But one dev stream later, and we are getting another new map in the game called Namek, which is a heavily built urban map that seems to take on an almost Japanese city style of inspiration, with cherry blossom trees and some cutting edge looking architecture around the map. Now, this isn't exactly a quote unquote new map per se, as this was in fact a map that was in the game a long time ago, but got pulled from the rotation to be reworked. But I never played it, and there are a lot of the player base out there who will be in the same boat as I am. So for all intents and purposes, this is a new map. We'll just call it like it is for the majority of the player base out there. And I've got to be real, I like the look of it. It looks like it's going to generate some really interesting and intense fighting. It may get a little bit choke pointy on the 127 vs 127 modes, but it looks like it would be a good deal of fun in its own right for a certain style of gameplay. The developers did confirm that you won't be able to zipline your way up to the very top of the rooftops on this map, which I've got to be honest is a very good restriction in my opinion. An overabundance of verticality on a lot of maps can make the maps feel a bit frustrating to play at times, you know, too many angles to look at, that sort of thing. So again, I think that's a very, very fitting restriction for this style of map to keep the combat, you know, relatively balanced and relatively centered to the ground. But anyways, the map represents another unique addition to the game as far as the visual style of the maps is concerned, and brings the game's total map count up to, I believe, 19, which is again crazy for a team of this size, given that most AAA games are launching with 6 or 7 maps, maybe even 9 if we're lucky these days. Insane stuff, to be honest. So that was without a doubt the biggest news of the stream, but that's not all. The developers also touched on new weapons, reworked weapons, community servers, in-game music, the game's anti-cheat, as well as new ways that they'll be looking to interact with the community and keep us updated as development progresses. As I said before, a lot to get through, but we'll start off with the new weapon topic. While there are no weapons that were explicitly called out during the development stream, Larry stated that there were approximately 59 weapons in the game's files, most of which I believe are ready to go into the game. Now right now, we have 44 weapons in the game when you include the 5 new weapons that were added with the launch, meaning that we have a total of 15 new weapons in the immediate pipeline, which is very, very exciting to hear. If we look at the game's content graphic that was dropped before the launch, we can see silhouettes for weapons that I believe are the AN-94, the G3, and what I think is either the F2000 or the MTAR-21. So hopefully we can expect to see even more weapons come to the game over time, of which will add more content to the progression grind of the game. The devs did confirm as well that none of the weapons will be locked behind the game's prestige system, which is also great to hear for the more casual player out there. In addition, Larry did confirm that he is looking to continue reworking some of the older weapon models in the game to give them the visual touch-up that they need. He's already done this for the likes of the Honey Badger, the M4A1, and the M9 pistol, but the next weapon in his sights is the MP7. Funnily enough, we just reviewed that weapon here on the channel, so give that a look if you haven't done so already. And eventually, he would like to look at the M249 while also looking to rework some of the belt-fed animations overall. So a lot to look forward to in relation to the game's arsenal. It it has to be said. Taking a small detour here, the developers also talked to their new naval attack watercraft that is coming to the game, and how we can expect to see some more details about the vehicle in about a week, which is exciting to see. The naval side of the game is something that the developers definitely want to expand a bit on, and I can understand why, because currently the water elements of the maps are incredibly underutilized, so I'm curious to see where they envisage this new watercraft playing in the grand scheme of the wider game. They also briefly talked about attack helicopters and in tandem mobile AA tanks, but they also expressed that these vehicles would be a nightmare to balance in the current flow of the game, and is something that they're just not intending to look at anytime soon, if not ever. Which again, I have a lot of respect for said approach. It shows restraint and ensures that they don't want to ruin the good gameplay flow here with just these cheesy vehicles that ruin the overall experience. I know a lot of people want to see things like attack helicopters and jets come to the game, but let's be honest, they would only do more harm than good in the current flow of the game, so it's a good step in the right direction to show that restraint. The developers also said that they are looking to work with some composers to get some music into the game, so it'd be cool to see a BattleBit Remastered soundtrack, I guess, at the end of the day. But the last two big ticket items were definitely the community servers and the Faceit anti-cheat integration to the game. That last one is a bit controversial, so I'll save that till last here. The community server work continues to make good progress according to the update, but the big challenges the developers are facing right now is managing progression and ensuring that the presence of community servers does not break the game's progression. Given that in-game progression is server bound to the game's master server at the moment, the developers need to find a way to separate community server progression and stats from the master server in a cost-effective way, given that it sounds like the developers are looking to offer communities a way to really customize and mod the gameplay experience on their community servers. And the last thing the developers want to see is these community servers being used as XP farms to immediately jump players up to rank 200 and through the prestiges. It just ruins the sense of progression and reward from getting these ranks in the official game modes. There's also a lot of questions about servers that are just rented out for the purposes of hosting specific game modes and maps on rotation, and how those servers are going to work with the progression model of the game. All of these are questions and challenges that the developers are facing to tackle, and is why community servers are still being worked on, but is something that is well within their focus at the moment. And lastly, Faceit anti-cheat also made a return to the conversation here on this stream, and it's a topic that I've seen a lot of in my comment section down below across multiple videos, in my Discord server, and on the BattleBit Remastered official channels. Oki made it very clear that easy anti-cheat, which the game currently relies on, just isn't fit for purpose for a first-person shooter game anymore. Unfortunately, you see it in a lot of games that incorporate easy anti-cheat these days. It just doesn't get the job done these days in combating cheating effectively. And this being an indie game, there needs to be a certain level of automation to banning cheaters from the game. You can't just have a moderation team effectively monitor 60,000 players around the clock. It just isn't possible for a team of this size. So Faceit is returning at some point. That is a non-negotiable, but not in the way in which many may know. The developers are currently working with Faceit, I believe, to build a somewhat of a middle ground product that is less so built for a more esports title and more so built for a casual title. Given that BattleBit is a more casual game on the surface, it doesn't necessarily need an esports grade anti-cheat to get the job done effectively. So a middle ground is being worked on, and the developers talk to potentially even rolling this out gradually as soon as this weekend, applying Faceit to a couple of servers and seeing how it goes. Now, I know that this does hurt the Steam Deck and the Linux enjoyers of the community here, as it basically rules official servers out for you guys completely due to compatibility issues. And I get it, folks, it's a tough pill to swallow here, but we have to remember one thing. People using Linux operating systems make up 1.47% of all of the users on Steam across the world. That's in its entirety, by the way, not just with BattleBit. And Oki said it himself. While this anti-cheat does potentially rule out that subset of the community, it frankly does much more for the game than it does take away from it. It ensures that a much healthier experience sticks for the game, because when cheaters do start to target the game in a larger capacity, that will have a significant impact to its playability. And manual moderation for this many players is simply not economical, and it's not efficient. You need to have a certain degree of automation in there, and as we all said before, easy anti-cheat just doesn't cut it. So it's a necessary evil and one that must stick around, especially noting the support that the developers are getting directly from Faceit in this relationship. So, sorry to deliver that bad news to the community there, guys, but unfortunately, these things need to be done. But with that said, folks, that is going to wrap up today's video recapping the development live stream that happened late last night. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to backhand the like button, as it does go a long way with the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff. By the way, a huge shout out to you guys for really supporting the channel over the last couple of days. I've seen some record-breaking stats for my channel the last few days as we've been really getting into the BattleBit content, and your support has been really appreciated. So let's keep that hype train going. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing whilst you're at it to stay up to date with all future BattleBit Remastered content, as we've got a lot coming on the way. And also check out my Twitch channel down below, guys. I'd really appreciate a follow over there as well, as you guys get to come check out our live streams as well. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.